Hello, everyone. This is the user's guide to the fourth and fifth dimension. I am Rebecca Roseberry, and I am interviewing the lovely and wonderful Chris Gordon. And we're on episode or chapter 4, and I am interviewing, I guess we'll say, the masters. We're learning about how to coast through the third and fourth and fifth dimension and coast easily and yes, with ease,
With
so
these.
that we all so that our physical selves, and this is me just playing, but so that our physical selves survive it. So with that, I just put out, so today is July 2nd. This is 2025. Yesterday, I just made chapter 3 public, but I never know how Zoom is going to record. And the third episode was recorded, not what I had expected. And so if you look at it, I edited it differently, and I really just do some light editing. In fact, my son helped me edit that one because of how the recording was, it had me on there like normally. And so Chris, I'm probably telling you this for the first time. When someone is speaking, they're the only thing that you see on the screen. So it's whoever is speaking is featured. And this last episode, both of us are on the entire time. And I'm like, okay, well, I thought I wasn't being recorded at this moment. So I'll have a cup of water or I'll be taking notes. And I'm like, okay. So I asked my son to change it up a little bit to spare everyone. But anyway, but it's not about the editing. I never want this to be about what we look like, because that slows me down tremendously in getting information out. I really want to just skate that line really nicely and not get too anal about editing, because it'll take too long and it takes the fun out of it. So,
Yeah,
um,
I agree 100% because if it's yeah, there's certain things that, like if I sneeze on the lens, we probably need to edit that out, that kind of thing. But yeah, if it's straight through, it's just pure, it's raw, it's what comes from the masters.
it's
Every
real.
everything I say after the first question is always theirs, not mine. I'm just repeating. But it takes time to explain that every single time I'm speaking for them. So that's sort of an unsaid truth, is that whenever I'm speaking, it's always them. And it might sound more like me because sometimes I am listening, sometimes I'm not. It just filters through. And I've been doing it a long time. So I don't, sometimes I do. I still have to, and always will have to really concentrate because their language, our language, there's a lot of translating that goes on. Um, but if it's something that they say often, then it's usually just filters through, and it can have the appearance of me talking, but it's really whatever they want me to say for you. I'm not going deep dive channeling because because of the format. If it were deep dive channeling, it would be a little more obvious. But those are like for really, really, really ethereal kind of things that are usually done in private one-on-one. So, or in a like-minded group for a particular reason, like we do them at the retreats every now and then, every other year. So, Sally will have me channel. But yeah, other than that, I agree with you 100%. And I thank Justin for all of his hard work.
He's famous.
He is famous, special and famous.
So so I was thinking of, you asked me like what questions do I have? And I'm okay, so and I'm also thinking of the audience about So I'm thinking back to elementary school when I learned about 3D, right? You have the one, the two, the three, and the 3D from I don't know whatever math. You're talking about three sides that we're living in a three-dimensional world. But when we're talking about 3D from your perspective, could you explain that it's more than those three-sided, you know,
Yes.
I think that'll help me anyway, you
Okay.
know.
Cool. So when we talk about 3D, 4D, 5D, they are dimensions, but they're dimensions of higher frequency. I'm not going to do the whole math and science thing,
Okay.
but when just to make it very simple, when I'm talking about 3D, I'm usually talking about a frequency or an energy,
Okay.
and it's that dimension that that frequency or energy resonates in.
Okay.
And so when I'm talking about three-dimensional energy, whether it's people, places, or things, it's three-dimensional energy is a very low vibration.
Right.
And
Yeah.
the higher the D number is, 4, 5, 6, etc., the higher the frequencies are.
Yeah.
Does that help?
Absolutely, absolutely. I just want to give context for so let's say what would be the characteristics of a quote unquote 3D person? To how would we define 3D, like a 3D individual? What, how would they be living or thinking versus a four, right? Like so just for context.
So a deep 3D would be someone who is egotistical. It
Okay.
would be someone who is narcissistic,
Yeah.
someone that is totally obsessed with everything being about them. They don't they really they climb the ladder and don't care who they step on. We have all kinds of phrases for that type of frequency and behavior. But anyone you can think of who is out to it's all about them, and they're in charge, and they have to be in charge, and nobody else can be in charge, that kind of thing. That's a real three-dimensional person, place, or thing.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds kind of weird, but there are things and places that we can go that have that same energy.
Yeah.
um it depends on what lives in and or surrounds that energy as to what type of energy that, what type of frequency that is.
So my next question is how, what I'm reading all these books to refresh about like this concept of oneness and love and all this good stuff. How from how did we get to a 3D perspective? Because I know we talked about in a previous chapter, you were explaining that the Earth tilted on its axis, which impacted our evolution. So like what is the I guess what is the construct if if we're all if a 3D person is innocent, right? If we're coming from a place of they don't know any better. They're just in 3D land. They're acting out like what is the environment set up for that expression?
So there's a whole lot of science and stuff that goes behind this, but I'm going to try to keep this real short. Basically, in the days of Atlantis and Lemuria and all of these other, the Incans,
Uh-huh.
okay, the Mayans, in anything the Mayan, so we know even just the Mayan calendar helps support that. We lived in a whole different frequency, a whole different dimension, and when mankind decided they wanted to be in charge, that that they wanted to be at the top of the food chain. Mankind wanted to be, we even started competing against each other. um, Whether we created it, there's differences of opinion. So, but whether we created that and put ourselves into the third dimension, or whether the universe said, okay, if that's where you really want to be, the two energies cannot live in the same space. And
Right.
so if that's where you want to be, we will create a three-dimensional place for you to live in for a while. And everyone pretty much agrees that this is first we wake up from this three-dimensional experience, and we start to remember that there is another way of living that is kinder and gentler. It doesn't make it utopian, not on this planet, not saying there aren't places, but not here. Doesn't make it utopian, but what it makes it is it makes it a place where everyone gets together, everyone is heard, we are more equal in everything. Equal is not about being exact, it's about balance, ebb and flow. We will always have ebb and flow. Our planet's made up that way. It's why water ebbs and flows, and the air pockets ebb and flow, and it's how we're made, even in a fourth dimension. So as we go into this fourth and fifth dimension, it's not that we can't do these things as much as it's we choose not to do these things because it doesn't feel good. It doesn't vibrate where we vibrate. And we know that everything has a frequency. Humans have frequencies. This pair of glasses has a frequency. And so as we put this together, this learning, remembering how to be fourth dimensional, the reason we're drawn to it so easily once we awaken and we start to remember is because it feels good.
Right.
And even though our immediate ancestors for a couple thousand years didn't have that energy, somewhere in here, DNA or whatever it may be, that part that's not what I don't study that part. So, but whatever it was, we remember. And that's why, and we are going to have a chapter on the new chakra system. But just to mention that real quick, that's why the new chakras are coming back online. It wasn't that we didn't have them. It was just they were dormant because in a three-dimensional world, the 7 is what we used. As we become lighter, more and more of our chakra system is coming online. And so yeah, it's really nice. So the reason we don't like judge them is because we were there too.
Yeah.
And just because they aren't waking up at the same pace we're waking up, we still had to wake up also.
Right.
And so it's it's not a free pass. They need to wake up. But if they choose not to, or if they simply cannot see that they even have an opportunity because they are so mired in that low frequency, for us to have a judgment on that simply puts us back into that three-dimensional energy, because judgment is one of those three-dimensional energies.
Right.
Greed, any of those I have to win everything and I have to be the best energies are very low three-dimensional energies. And as we get further away from that, we again, it's not that we couldn't, it's that we have no desire to live in that. It doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
It doesn't, it's not authentic to who we really are and who we really are supposed to be. So this is nothing new. This is simply remembering.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so what I'm hearing is would it be true then? We chose to sleep. We
Yes.
chose to feel separate. It was our choice to forget.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes. And what better time for us to wake up when the universe itself is having an evolution?
Right. And that's what I wanted. Like, is there something in the astronomy besides the Earth axis to support like what else, what would support a 3D alignment versus a 5D? Like what has to be out in the cosmos to support it, right? To
Right.
explain it.
So literally the planets, the stars, and everything else out there has shifted everything. So I could literally go where I live. I could go out my door, and most nights during the month, look up in the sky to my left, right outside my door, and I would see Mars. Not for long, but I could see Mars, and I could tell it was Mars. When everything shifted, I'm not saying Mars can't be seen by Earth. I don't see it anymore. What I see are planets that I really didn't see very often before. So I'm seeing Saturn. At times, Saturn is close enough that I can't see the rings, but I know that fuzziness around Saturn is the rings. And the moon has always, I mean, I've lived here a long time, and the moon has always been right outside that window. Now, sometimes the moon comes up, and it always went that way and ended up over there. But now sometimes it's coming up over here and going this way. So things are moving, not just Earth.
Right.
And that's what makes it a universal evolution, is because all of these energies. So think about just the moon, simply the moon. When it's full, think of how the waters rise. We don't have to think about anything else. Simply the part we can see where water rises, whether the tides are higher, whether the banks of the river are higher, the ponds, lakes come there, the shoreline part of that comes in up higher. We know that affects us. So think about all of the planets in the universe moving at one time and readjusting. They have a magnetic and other types of pulls to Earth also. We pull on them, they pull on us. We give to them, they give to us. And so when all that takes place, it has an effect on us. So as they're moving, that's part of that energy that is assisting in our waking up and remembering, is we feel that new vibration of the Earth. We can feel her going back into her solid fourth and fifth dimension. Not that she didn't have aspects of it before, but she's solid in her fourth and fifth.
So when you talk about these other advanced civilizations, they were a manifestation of the planetary alignment at that time, meaning like, I'm just thinking like, forgive them for they know not what they do, simply because of the planetary alignment is not in favor of a certain frequency so the outcome of that planetary alignment is what it is. Does that?
Yes. And everybody deserves the opportunity to come to it in their own way.
Right.
And eventually there will be something. Dolores Cannon has the earth dividing in two, whether that's literal or not, I'm not real sure. I don't stress over a lot, but being on the wrong side is a little stressful for me if I think about it too long and too hard. So I try not to think about it in those terms, but I'm not saying that she's wrong by any stretch of the imagination. But whatever happens, whether all the 3D people leap at one time, or whether they go to another place, or whether we go to another place, I don't know how that's going to happen. I simply know that on this earth, that three-dimensional energy won't be resonating. And I'm not sure what that looks like, but I also know it's not a scary thing. So because it's planned, it's supposed to happen. Nothing has ever, It's not a doomsday. It's not the end of the world. It may be the end of the world as we know it,
Mm-hmm.
the end of the world in that three-dimensional space, but it's not the end of mankind. And so it's not supposed to be taught that way. This is about evolving into a more loving, more kind, non-judgmental type of humanity all the way around the globe. This is not a United States thing. This is a global evolution. It's a universal evolution. Every
Right.
planet is changing, not just Earth and not just the United States.
So could we say that we have to choose to feel better and choose to remember?
That we
And
have to.
like meaning like because of our free will and is it I'm just playing with this, but and so we're choosing it to take a higher the high road, so to speak, and we have planetary support in that based on the alignment right now. Is that
Yes. Yes. So if we want to live that lifestyle, now is the easiest time to do it. So if we feel like it's not easy now, then after 2033, wow, we think this is difficult. This is nothing. So it's not that these things will not eventually happen. It's if I want to do it easily or if I want to do it a little more difficult. And I'll just tell you, I'm lazy, and so I'd rather do it the easy way than the hard way. So however we get there, this is the time right now where we have pivot, which is that space where the two energies can live in harmony for a little while. It's closing, but we have that. So while we have all of these things at our fingertips, all of these instructions and maps and downloads or instructions, okay, as we have all of these things, to be able to do it now.
mm-hmm.
It's simply going to be, first we get there faster, and
Yeah.
second, it's the difficulty is we don't have that much that's difficult except ourselves. What we feel friction from is us, not the universe. The universe has laid all this stuff out to make it easy for us. It's our reluctance to go there that is what's difficult for a lot of people,
Myself included.
so and that's, I have people say all the time, well, that's human. Well, that's true, but that's also that human, that's the third dimensional human.
Yeah.
We have the ability and the opportunity to move away from that and go into the fourth dimension, fifth dimension human, and so that's still on us because it's a comfort thing. It's what we work to get here, or what any excuse that we want to give ourselves, and it's ourselves we're talking to, not anybody else.
Right. So the pivot again is between now and 2033.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And 2033, according to the people that come up with these numbers, and we can speed that up and make it anywhere between 2031, 2032, 2033. So most people are picking 2032 if you read about it, because that's in the middle of those 2 years. But we have the ability to speed it up, or we have the ability to slow it down, and that's up to us also.
So if we're basing this on like the activation is based on choice and choosing to remember a higher vibration, it could be right now.
Yeah.
Yes? Okay.
Yes. And one question that I had this about 6 times in the past 2 or 3 weeks. So maybe this will also help. why, myself included, does everyone say, tell me what I need to stop doing, not what I need to do? And the answer to that is stopping what you're doing is what you need to do. So for me to say you need to go outside and put your feet in the sand, if you're not sure why you're doing that, it's not going to change anything. So if I say to do that, you're just going to add that to your routine. If I say stop wearing your shoes so that you have the opportunity to go to the beach and put your feet in the sand, two totally different things. And I know that's probably not a really good analogy, but it just popped in my head, and so they must have given it to me. But we simply need to see what we need to eliminate from our life.
Okay.
Even if it's temporary. Some of these eliminations are only temporary. And the reason we need to do them is because of our codependency. The things we need to release have to do with codependency. Doesn't necessarily have to be about that person, place, or thing, but it has a connection that is keeping us in that codependent state.
Okay.
So what every podcast, every reel, everything, when we say you've got to stop doing, or however people are relinquish, or whatever word they're using, that is what we need to do. So there isn't a
so confusing.
It is very confusing, because people will say, well, what can I do? Well, maybe if we aren't doing this, giving this attention, then it takes care of itself over here. And that goes back to, this is the universe's blueprint. All we need to do is stop holding on to the three-dimensional world.
Right.
And that's really hard for people, because that encompasses pretty much everything we know. Whether that's relationships, whether it's our religious beliefs, whether it's our political beliefs, whether it's our feud with our neighbor, does not matter what it is. If it's in that space, we need to walk away from it. And that's the one thing we tell people, say, well, turn around and walk away. Well, when we say walk away, then all we get back is, but. See, it's all of those words. So when we do say what to do, no one is breathing and slowing down enough to be able to see that frequency for what it is. And that's not a put down. That is that three-dimensional human self.
Yeah.
So quiet is a whole lot of what this is about.
Okay.
I'm not sure if there is a quiet meditation maybe we'll attach to this at some point, because learning how to be still and being present in the moment, like you said, now.
Yeah.
There is no thinking, as there is no past, there is no future, because the past is done, over, non-existent. Future hasn't happened yet. We have free will. We can shift that. Only thing we have is now. That isn't just, and so the naysayers will say, well, that means I'm not supposed to have goals. I'm not supposed to try to do that. Those are two different things. That's narrow focusing on what those words mean. Those words simply mean I need to focus on what I'm doing now. And if what I'm doing now is, let's say I'm looking to move. What I do now, when I focus on it, I focus on the energy that will assist me in that move.
Mm-hmm.
but it's still about what I do now.
Right.
Doesn't mean I can't manifest. Manifesting is still, I'm manifesting it now. So it's about learning how to be completely in now so we can manifest, so we can do these things that will propel us into our future. And our future can be 15 seconds from now, or it can be 15,000 years from now.
Right. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't even know where
I
to.
know that's heavy and that's deep. That's one of the reasons that it's difficult for us to be able to relinquish too, because that is a real walking away from anything that has that deep a hold on us is extremely difficult.
Yeah. So I don't want to sound, and this is going to sound egotistical on purpose. What is the goal? The goal, the goal of life itself, aside from, I don't know, this is just coming off. We are evolving, whether we choose to accept that or not, or pay attention to that or not, right?
Yes.
But what is this ultimate goal of being here? Like we had free will, we chose to be here. I'm assuming we chose with our own free will. We
Yeah, the
chose
ball
to,
got rolling.
yeah. We chose to forget so we can remember. Like the ultimate life experience. I don't know. Like, I guess there's no goalpost. I mean, we talk about love inside and out, up and down, but where is it in a sense? Everything is love if we see it that way. Um, I don't know. I don't know. It's on. It just, to me, the next question is, well, the hell are we doing here? Why the hell would we choose this?
A lot, believe it or not. And if she's watching, one person in particular will know exactly who she is. So if we think in terms of what we are assisting, what we agreed to. So yes, the universal evolution is a blueprint that has been here for thousands of years. We knew it was happening, etc. The how-to guide is in front of everybody. We just can't always see it or interpret it. But this is solely for humanity. And if we want to break it down, yeah, we can say, well, screw humanity. Okay, well, that's fine. If that's what people, if that's really how they feel. But what I hear from people all day long is how they want to leave a better world for their children and their grandchildren and their great-grandchildren. And they really will be the ones working uphill if we don't do our part. And I was very fortunate to listen to, it was in my class, and the professor had a panel of early 20 somethings, and they told us their concerns about us not coming up to the plate, that we agreed to do this when we agreed to come here this time. And simply because we had to live in that three-dimensional energy, for them is not an excuse anymore for us not to pick up the mantle and start doing the work. And I totally heard and understood what they were saying. If I agree, even my three-dimensional integrity, and this probably sounds egotistical too, but if I sign a contract and I agree to something, I'm going to fulfill that contract. And if I'm living right now and I'm not mired, and even people that are mired, that's not, I can't say that. Some of the people that are mired in 3D are never supposed to come out of 3D because that 3D lifestyle is their contract. They are the ones that are bubbling up all of the what we would call not nice, dirty, nasty, muddy, whatever, however you want to fill in that blank.
Yeah.
That is their whole purpose for being here, is to bring all of this negative energy to light so it can be cleansed and renewed as a kinder, gentler energy. And we can't clean it up if we can't see it. So if they're not festering it to boil and bringing it to the surface, we can't accomplish what we agreed to when we agreed to come here. But if I signed a contract and my contract is that I'm living right now and I'm in this fourth dimensional energy, then I know I have a contract. That's one of the many things that we do know, is that if we're living now and we are working our hardest to get into this fourth dimension, and we can see it clearly, and we're here for a reason. Even if I woke up this morning, doesn't matter where I am on my journey, if I know there's something better and I feel it and I'm being drawn to it, I know I have a contract. I don't know what everybody's contract is. Contracts can be you do something one time, which that has a butterfly or a ripple effect, and that creates what's supposed to happen over here, which is the really big thing. But whatever you did over here is the catalyst for that. If that's your contract, that's your contract. So other people have contracts where they're supposed to be teaching. Some are going into space so they can get more information about the galactic part of this evolution. You know, they're getting great data because they're studying that part of this evolution. So there's a whole lot of different levels in this. It's not simply what we do. It's what we do in conjunction with everything else that's going on.
Right.
So if I say, and I can because I have free will, but if I say, you know, I don't care. I don't want to do this. It's too hard. I want to go live, even though I'm not happy, or even though I'm triggered all the time, or all of those things that continue, but it's safe because I know it. That's okay. The thing is, if we did sign a contract, we will come back and redo this very same job over and over and over till the contract is fulfilled. So that's why the people that are bringing stuff to the surface are working as hard as they're working, because they don't want to do that job again. I can't imagine wanting to do that again. I think it takes a really special soul to even want to be that energy in the first place. So that would be my thing for a one and done. Especially so much fear and anger that's going on. And the fear and the anger is absolutely nothing but our understanding that, oh, I do not have to live this way. It's not actually fear like we think it is. It's actually resonating as fear of, I don't want to live this way, but I'm not sure how to get out of it.
Yeah, that's speaking to me personally. Yeah, on many fronts. Do you have do you have a meditation or a way for the audience to like tune into their contract?
No, sometimes we can go into the Akashic records. Mm-hmm. And the Akashic records, if we go there and we ask, and before I go any further with this, please make sure it's somebody that is actually qualified to do Akashic records. There's a lot of stuff on there, and I'm not bashing anybody, but there's a lot of stuff out there that, yes, there are records, and we can get up to it. We can get to certain things. I'm not saying individually we can't do it, but there is a process. The Akashic Records is not something that is frivolous. It's a very deep, deep, deep. It's kind of like going in the Matrix. And yes, there are other definitions of Matrix, but I think it gets confused. Those two things are very, very deep, very soulful. Not always what you think it's going to be. Sometimes messages are what we don't want to hear. So but you can go into your Akashic Records. You can have a session with someone who does that professionally, and they've trained very hard to go in and to protect you as you're in those places, because these are very deep. I guess I'll go on a limb and say out of body experiences. It's not exactly 100%, but close. And you can go in and ask, and if you are supposed to know your contract, they will tell you. Really knowing your contract, the biggest thing I can say about that is I'm not even sure any of us are really supposed to know what our contract is, unless someone from an angelic realm comes and tells us that, and that can be in the form of a human being. Okay. I think our contract is fulfilling that thing that our heart is drawn to.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons, and when I say I'm not sure we're supposed to know, we are still so competitive. And if your contract is to do exactly what you're doing and get information out there and be the medical intuitive healer that you are, and to bring people to their best and highest life. And my contract is a one-time thing where I'm supposed to walk up to someone and say, I absolutely love that shirt, and I hope you have a very, very, very wonderful day. And I have no idea why I did it. I just did it. That can be my contract. It can really be that simple. And then it's that person that does whatever, or takes that happiness that I just shared and takes it to wherever it's supposed to happen.
Right.
It's all about quantum entanglement, or if you prefer, the ripple effect or the butterfly effect, all the same thing. And I think what would happen in my head, this has nothing to do with the universe. I'm stepping out of that for a minute. In my head, when I think about that, I think about, as competitive as we still are, would I be offended, or would I have attitude because, all I did was tell somebody that they look good today? We're still in that energy.
Yeah.
So if we don't know what it is we're doing, but we're always striving to do that thing that makes us happy and creates us in a happier, loftier lifestyle, then as far as I'm concerned, that's our contract. We're fulfilling it in some sort of way.
Right.
And I know that sounds like a cop-out, but I do think that in this particular case, for right now, that's how we're going to get there faster, is because we understand it's a collective consciousness and we're all in this together.
So, but what another point of view, is no matter how small or how big, because it's all has meaning.
Everything.
Right. So what you're saying is, like, if someone sees their contract, they may misinterpret it. Their ego is going to filter it and then say, oh, I'm less significant, or I don't matter, or they're better, or something, when that's not even how they were supposed to filter it or perceive it to begin with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not true.
Well, yeah, it's just because the ego is just
right. So I really believe that that's kind of like one of those pre-directives of the universe is that we're not being allowed to be in that space yet.
I gotcha. You
So
have to
I
have
simply tell everybody to follow their heart and what makes them happy. And if that's calling people up and saying good morning, I love you, and leaving it on their answering device, whatever that is, iPhone or Cradle, whatever. Hey, I can't think of a better thing to have than to listen to my messages and have somebody tell me they love me. You know, that in itself is just going to boost me up, even if it is my ego. I'm still going to go to oh. And the more we go to that ooh place, the more we like it, the more it feels good, and the more we try to do things to get us there. And that's basically all this is.
Yeah, love is very simple.
Very.
And so and so I'll just speak on I know that what my personality wrestles with is, and when you look at the Enneagram, I think I'm a 7. I've been told I'm a 7, which wrestles with this idea of, oh my God, I might be bored, right? So it's like the fear of boredom. So I have to do all these things so I don't be bored. Like bored is like the worst thing in the world. But yet I was reading recently some spiritual book somewhere and talking about boring, like as like that's kind of like a baseline for, I don't know if it was described as spirituality or enlightenment or what, but I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm just sitting there like to come from that place is a challenge for me, like to accept nothingness and boredom. It's ugh. So anyway, that's the conundrum. How did we get on that?
No, but I can
Yeah.
I will attempt to validate that for you, not from anything from them again. But I read the very same thing. Today's what, Wednesday, so I read it on Monday. I was preparing for a class I'm taking, and everything you just said was in the material that I read. So yeah, I don't know
think
what else to tell you.
but I think it was Monday. It was Sunday or Monday as I'm reading this. One of my, and I'm like, boring. So I'm like, personally, I practice being okay with boredom, being okay with the mundane, being okay with it. There's nothing going on. There's nothing to do. That's okay. Being in the stillness. That's like a really difficult mission for me.
For a lot of people, you're not alone. Yeah, so yeah, not alone at all. And then you asked about a meditation. So there is a meditation. There's a series of 7, which will eventually put all of them out here. But the first one is really easy. And I think we can even take time, because it's so easy and so fast. We can even take time and then I have it recorded and we can do something with it later. But it's teaching us how to be present in the moment. And seeing yourself surrounded in darkness. And if darkness really it bothers people, and some people are afraid of the dark, in nothingness. Okay. If we can close our eyes, take 3 or 4 deep breaths, and then visualize ourselves in this nothingness. And continue to breathe, take a while to do it. And then we ask ourselves 4 simple questions, and the answers are simple. They're like 1 or 2 word answers. And so the first question we ask ourselves is, where are we in this nothingness or this darkness? Where are we? And where are we can be very simple. I'm sitting, I'm in a room, just a room, nothing else. I'm in a room, or I'm in a bed, or I'm in outer space, or wherever we see ourselves. And then as soon as we get that answer, we have the very next question right behind it of, what am I doing in this nothingness? Am I standing? Am I floating? Am I sitting? Am I singing? What am I doing? And then the last question is two parts. How do I feel physically? Cold, hot, body aches. How do I feel physically in this space? And how do I feel emotionally in this space? And remember, you're visualizing yourself in this space. So these answers can be what you're doing at the moment, but it's more about how you see yourself in that nothingness. What am I doing? Where am I? How do I feel physically? How do I feel emotionally? And once we've answered those 4 questions, we stay in that space. And then if an outside interruption comes up, that's fine. Acknowledge it, appreciate it for what it is, and then release it, send it on its way, and go back. See yourself in nothingness. Where am I? What am I doing? How do I feel physically? How do I feel emotionally? And do that for a few moments. If you were a client having a session, it would be twice a day, once in the morning, once at night, or whenever you can fit it in. Morning and night, before I get out of bed, before I go to sleep at night, seem to be the easiest for most people, but it can fit into your schedule wherever you want it to fit into. Psychologically, this meditation is really, really good for a whole lot of different things.
Yeah.
And I won't get into all of them, but I will get into one of them, is that we know we heal best when we are in that space of nothingness, when we are asleep, when we're in that darkness. We grew in the womb. You plant plants, you put the roots in the ground in the dark. You plant seeds and cover them up in the dark. We know that they induce comas for our brain to heal. I mean, we know that space of nothingness is where we heal. So if we have a physical, an emotional, or a mental stressor, being present in the moment in that stillness is extremely healthy and healing.
For a lot of different reasons.
For
Yes.
a lot of different reasons.
I'm healing just as you're talking about it. I'm putting myself in that space, and I'm like, it's where it's at. It's where it's at.
I do that meditation off and on all day long.
Yeah, it's good.
It's really helpful for practitioners of any kind between patients and clients.
We could do a whole other show on that.
Yeah. So if there is a practitioner or anyone that has a client patient type business, if you can, 3 seconds of just you're so refreshed, and go into the next, you go 100% into the next one. Your next person isn't losing anything of you.
Right.
You're all there.
Right.
And so that's helpful.
Definitely. Thank you for sharing.
You're very welcome.
So I think we're pretty good on, we're keeping these to about an hour, right? I mean, not that there's any hard fast rule on that, but I think it's good for everyone to, my digestion, everyone's digestion of the information, to sit with it.
I can't imagine going any longer.
Right?
No.
Right. So, but I'm wondering if this is like, I don't know, I just want to share something that that I wanted to talk about, and we could talk about it next time, and I don't know where this fits in or whatever. But like this topic of solar flares and our physical health, and I stress just the physical because I feel it physically. Do you have any I mean, other than staying aware, like I practice when I think one of my superpowers is surrender when it comes to like feeling awful. I give up. I do not fight it. I do not. What is the point? Just lie there and die. Like, who cares? Like, because it would be egotistical of me to say, oh, this shouldn't be happening and blah, blah, blah. You're just creating resistance and creating more negativity and just like, let it be, let it be. But I'm curious, like, if what type of advice that you have, like when I hear about, oh, there's solar flares and people's health is being compromised by it, like what do you suggest is best to ride that wave? If you have anything on that, or we could talk about that next time.
We can talk about it deeper next time, but you basically segued into summing up what this whole hour has been about.
Yeah.
Surrender.
Surrender. Again, it's
because the sun is part of this planetary realignment restructuring.
yeah.
So the sun is getting rid of its things and,
Right.
and recreating new things and rebalancing itself.
Right.
And yes, we happen to be in the fallout of that, but we're in the fallout from all the different energies from all the different planets and stars and suns. So that's just one more validation because this is talked about a lot. We can see photos of the flares. I mean, this is a proven thing. So right. It's one more validation that surrender is where we're supposed to be as far as surrendering and letting go of our 3D self. And there isn't anything we can do to change it.
Right.
Other than
ride the wave.
But the more time we spend outside, the more we are exposed to it. I don't like being inside any more than anybody else, but I've probably been inside more the last 2 summers than my whole entire life. Mm-hmm. But I know this is temporary. And I'm in my world, this is me, doesn't have anything to do with anybody else. In my world, who is it going to hurt if I stay inside for 2 summers when I have summers and summers and summers after this?
Right.
I'm no more guaranteed just because I'm at the age I am of having no more summers than I was right after I was born. Our exit strategy can be at any point in time in life. People come here and aren't living. They're born. So from the time here till we really leave, and I've left 2.5 times, so but I'm still here. That's not a thing, that's not an excuse.
Right.
We might try to make it one. Well, I don't know, what if I get hit by a truck tomorrow? Well, what if you do? That's not the thing that caused you to leave the planet, because you stayed out of the sun until the sun finishes doing her thing. And when that's done, we can go back at it and have fun and do all the things we want to do. Mm-hmm. But it's not healthy for us right now. Mm-hmm. So to go out there and be, and I guess because I also live at the beach, so it's even more so. To go and lay out there all day long is just not a healthy thing to do anymore. And to continue doing it, knowing it's not healthy, mm-hmm. In my world, just in my world, that's almost like saying, well, I'm better than everybody else, and it won't be me, because how dare it? And that's not what anybody's saying. But subconsciously, that's what the brain is saying, because we all know the subconscious brain is kind of snarky and has kind of those set rules. But it's not anything anybody's doing consciously. You know, if you want to go out in the evening or in the early morning, or, you know,
Yeah.
so that's all I got to say on that this time, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
did that answer that?
Yeah, so surrender, I think that's a good place to
Yeah.
pause. And it really does summarize a lot, right? It fits into most teachings.
Yes.
Just
Yes.
surrender. Just
Yes.
surrender.
And I think that word alone, we could have just said, hi, how you doing? And said surrender. And that word alone gives people, so many different things they want to say, share, feel, whatever, just that one word.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
that's fun. That's good.
Well, thank you so much, my dear.
Yes, thank you as always. And we'll everyone stay tuned for chapter 5, episode 5. And trying to think of what else. We'll see what we come up with. I hope you're enjoying this production, and if you would like your questions answered, please get in touch with me and we will include them in a future chapter. But anyway, thank you, and I think we're good for now.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good 4th. Bye-bye.